Hey, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We'll let the room kind of fill up a little bit, get comfortable. We are getting ready for a great discussion today. The money talk is what this conversation is called. How to have financial discussions with patients, getting ready to get that started. So I'll give just another 30 seconds or so for people to get into the room before I introduce our amazing speakers. And if somebody's out there that we know, please say hello so we can say hi back. The chat does work. All right. So I think that we are ready to rock and roll. Hello, hello, hello. Okay, so hi, Brittany. Hey, everybody. Oh, we've got the Rubino's offices here down in Florida. Hi. So we're excited to have you. We're going to go ahead and get started. So my name is Lauren Powers. I'm the president of the dental division at Microsite Health. And we've got two amazing panelists today. So I would like to introduce Dave Roehr. He's the CEO of Proceed Finance. Proceed has been the buzzword in dentistry lately. Like if you're not financing with Proceed, you're not the cool kid. That's how it is right now. And Dave, he has over 3 decades of experience in banking and finance and strategic growth. And he has literally grown Proceed. It's just been creeping up and creeping up and creeping up to be what we consider, a lot of people consider to be one of the premier partners for patient financing. So we can't wait to hear from Dave and some of the new products that they have with Proceed and just their strategy to help more people get financing and ultimately will help you guys help more people as well. And then of course, we have the boss, the woman, the myth, the legend, Kim Middleton. She is an $80 million sales coach. She, in 1 month, closed and collected over $700,000 in her heyday. Can you count that? That's a lot of cash. You take that home, Kim?
I stole the other 300,000.
Kim is just this powerhouse sales coach. And we are so grateful to have her at Microsite because she helps really bridge that gap between what happens when the patient or the lead walks in the door and they meet you guys and you have those crucial conversations that could potentially change their lives and change how your practice flows. So what I'm going to do is we're going to get this started off with Dave, and he's got a lot of really good facts and tidbits to share with us about Proceed. And Dave, I want to know what makes Proceed so unique and so different. Like, why are we talking about you guys to pretty much every client?
Sure. No, hey, I appreciate it, and appreciate the opportunity to be here today. So hopefully we'll share some good information. But hey, to address the first issue, why are we different? Why would you out there want to have Proceed in your practice and the things that we do? And I'll kind of get through this. But I started this company about 6 years ago. We've got it really working. I built this from really the provider level up. A lot of, I've got 30 years plus experience in financing products and unsecured credit. Most of the product, what I got into this business is, driven down from a lender, use this is what we got. Nobody really built one that from trying to really address what the provider needs are. So that's really what I started. We're very flexible. We can adjust our product, our underwriting. We're the risk taker. So we can design products and things that fit your needs and can do that quickly. But, it's all about this in large case dentistry, implantology. The biggest thing you're going to hear is, hey, how do I get my patients to afford my treatment plans? How they need help. What can we do? And the affordability issue. So number one, we create affordability better than anyone else. And I'll explain how we do that here in a second. It's all about then when you have an affordable payment and can create affordability, that's going to obviously increase case acceptance, your conversion rates of people who actually then end up getting and going through with their treatment plans, which is all what we want. That's the win-win-win. We want the patient to win because they get the treatment that they need and want. You as the providers win because you get to provide that treatment and take care of the patients the way you want to. And we win because we make it all happen and provide the financing to be able to do that. So, it will strengthen your relationship with your patients. One of the things I always point out is, once you get our product and you learn how to use it and use it successfully, it strengthens relationships with patients. So what that means is you're going to get more referrals. You're going to get the patients that say good things about you because you've got a great financing product. You work with them. It was a great experience, and it just increases those relationships with which leads to new business. But finally, the biggest thing we do is we also create a lot of revenue for your practice and drive growth. And I'm really interested in practices that want to do that want to grow successfully, do a lot more of these large cases. And, we will drive revenue to your practice in a significant way. And the growth, I have a lot of practices that'll double in size, within a year, 24 months, just by following this stuff that we're going to be talking about and, really getting that case accepted. So that's what distinguishes us. We're very much driven by the providers, and we listen to you. We want you to be successful. We do offer a wide range of help and consulting services in terms of we don't charge for our product. Put it in your office to train your people, to give them things that we want them to utilize. We only make money when a patient takes a treatment plan and takes the financing. So, you win when that happens, we win, and the patient wins. So that's the big difference. So addressing that, let's just look at what I wanted to talk about is, driving revenue and how this all works. And we're going to talk a little bit about, how do you successfully get a patient, to get comfortable with affordability and that they need to make this a priority of their life. And I know Kim is going to talk a little bit about how do you get the patient to the point where, hey, the need is there. They need and want the treatment plan because of all the benefits and the life-changing things that are going to happen to them going through these procedures. And then it becomes just, about money and how they can afford it and how do you get them through that. So just what I wanted to show here, and this kind of distinguishes us from our competitors as well, is we're a large case lender. We make large loans to your patients. Our range of loans start at $2,500 and we go all the way up to $70,000. These are all unsecured, non-recourse to you as the provider. So we take all the risk. So that's the range. Our amounts that we loan, like I said, our average funding is just almost $25,000 on a loan. Our interest rates for patients run, and it's risk rated. So those people that have, excellent or great credit get a better deal and better interest rates than those that are more challenging. So our rates run from 3.9% to 18.9% and anywhere in between. The other thing that really, so you really get a lower rate from us based on the risk of the patient. And then the amazing thing we do is the term will go from 24 months, but we also will go in 12-month increments all the way out to 108 months, which is 9 years. We're the only lender doing that. So, you combine a 9-year term with a lower rate, you get the lowest payment in the industry. And when you get a low payment, you get affordability and you get case acceptance. So, that's really what it's all about. And I want to drive you more business. I want to help patients get into these treatment plans. And I want to make you successful and grow your practice. But affordability for patients is really what we're all about. And that's what we do really well. This screen, I wanted just to show you kind of what we, the power of what we do. And this is kind of something I want you to remember is we have a product when we go up to the $70,000 range. We also have for challenging credit, a secondary lender that looks at loans that we deny. And this is all seamless to you as far as it's all on our platform. So there's just one application and all this happens automatically. It's instant. It happens within seconds after us receiving an application, but we'll approve about 35%, sometimes up to 40, depends on the demographics of the patient base. Our secondary lender will go and add another 25%. So when you have apply with us using our platform, we're approving 60 to 65% of our applications. So this chart is just kind of showing you how it would work. Our average approval when we approve is $44,000. We tell you that if a patient is eligible for more credit than what they've applied for, we send that to you at point of sale so that you know that more credit is available. So if you want to increase their treatment plan, or they want more expensive materials, or zirconium versus different things, or they need a double arch versus a single arch, and they have the ability to do that, we'll let you know that when they apply. But this is just kind of showing our average funded loan is $25,000. Our secondary lender, when they approve for $17,000, and our $11,000 is their average funded loan. So if you put those together, our average approval when you apply with us is around $33,000, and our average funded loan with us and our secondary lender is about just under $20,000. Now, the credit scores and how deep we go with our secondary lender, most of you are familiar with credit scores and FICO scores. We have a lot of different things in our underwriting, but that one everybody remembers. But we go down as low as to 580. So, we're covering a very wide spectrum of people. And, that's probably going to cover around 75 to 80% of the people, will have a credit score that's higher than that. The people below that, we call subprime. We'll teach you how to work with those people. If they're denied, don't give up. There's other things that you can do to try to get these people into treatment plans by, potentially having a loved one help them, or sign, apply on their behalf, and those types of things. But we've got a lot of experience in just really helping providers use a product and what to do when certain things happen, and get them comfortable. The bottom part of this slide just really shows you the power of what we can do for revenue for your practice. This is just 100 applicant case study. So if you have, and we're first look, if you have 100 people apply, this is on average what happens. We'll approve 60 of those people. The average funded loan, we're assuming a 50% conversion rate. So 50% of the people that get offered the financing will go ahead and convert and accept the treatment plan, and you'll have it have as a case. So with the average funded loan, you can see that we'll produce just under $600,000 gross with a treatment plan for your practice on 100 applications. We do charge a discount fee. Those discount fees are risk rated. We just lowered those. We're just lowering our interest rates for our patients as well. So we got a lot of good news. But our provider fees run from 3.9. 6.9 is the second category, and we do have a high risk category that'll go up to 12.9. But we'll tell you over 80% of your applications will either get a 3.9 or a 6.9 rate. So from a provider fee, so we take that off. Your net revenue for your practice on 100 applicants is $550,000. And the one at the bottom really tells you the power of our product. And this is how you evaluate us. I always like to tell people, don't evaluate on what I charge you, evaluate on how much revenue I can produce for you at what cost. So on that same example of 100 people applying, I'm going to give you a revenue potential of almost $2 million of credit available to your patients for you to convert into cases. So that really, no one else in the industry is doing these kind of numbers and taking, these, creating these type of opportunities for practices. All right, so we go on to really what I want to visit about. Do we have a question or anything? If not, I'll move into.
Nope, you're good. Keep going.
Good. All right. Moving to, this is something I wanted, and this is what we wanted to help you with, is when you get a patient that, obviously can't pay cash, or maybe even can pay cash, is to get them through the money part of getting them to accept a treatment plan. I will tell you this, we kind of have a lot of sources of the deals, and we train our people and our providers on, really how to look for money from that patients may not even remember that they have, and to really, ease their comfort level where they feel comfortable that, yes, I can afford it. Obviously when you treat, you present somebody with an expensive treatment plan, implants, single arch, 25,000, give or take, or whatever you're charging, there's going to be a sticker shock that I don't want to spend that much money, or I can't afford that, to put that kind of investment in my mouth. But, when you get them comfortable, say, look, well, let's just talk about that. What are the benefits of what you're doing here, and the life-changing things that are going to happen to you, all the way from, the opportunities Kim's going to talk about, but you get them comfortable that, yes, I do need to do this for all of the reasons to increase their, to improve their health, improve their life, improve their, actually it improves life expectancy. There's just all sorts of benefits. So now we get down to how to pay for it. Well, the easiest way to pay is obviously if they have cash. And there's a lot of, sources of cash. They may have a flexible spending account that's being funded through their employer. They can have brokerage accounts. They can have just different sources. Now, what I will tell you on the people that have cash and can pay cash, we're finding, especially post-pandemic, that a lot of these people really still want financing, even though they could pay cash, because what's happening is they don't want to spend their cash. They want they want a nest egg. They want savings. They really aren't comfortable, moving money out of investments or things like that. So financing, really what we do, and think of unsecured financing, is we're increasing somebody's purchasing power when we do this. So we don't charge prepayment penalties for prepayment. So a lot of the people that have cash really, want financing. And if you have attractive financing, we'll take that. And it gives them another option for purposes of conversion into a case, because, they don't have to spend the cash. And we always recommend, hey, apply for the amount of the treatment plan. And if they can finance 100% of that and get into your treatment plan and pay that off over time or when they want to, it just gives them more flexibility, and a lot of them will move forward. So always, recommend start, tell people you've got great financing, see if they want to finance the whole thing, and, they don't have to spend cash or move money around or things that they just aren't comfortable with, that they want to keep their current liquidity where it's at. So anyway, cash is starting. Now, then you get into debt. So if they don't have the cash and they want to finance, what sources of cash you have? Well, you've got secured lending. We're unsecured. So secured lenders, will normally, because they have security and the ability to repossess security in the event of a delinquency, they can offer better rates and potentially better terms and conditions. But it's secured debt that doesn't increase somebody's purchasing power. But you have home equity lines of credit. That's easy. They usually take time, but you want to close today. So if they want to get a HELOC, for example, or a home equity line of credit, go ahead and put them in our financing. Let them take their time, through getting a secured loan, which is going to involve collateral security and time and underwriting and all of that. So, but that's an option. And if they want to get a secured debt to pay off their unsecured debt, we're totally fine with that. But just remember, you want to get it closed. The financing is available today. Let them take that, and they can always refinance with no prepayment penalty. They can finance vehicles if they have vehicles that are unencumbered. You can take loans on investments, through brokerage accounts. If they have life insurance, they can borrow cash surrender. But there's all sorts of secured, sources of funding that you could talk about. Then you get into the unsecured financing. Credit cards. They may have availability on credit cards, so they may want to put some of their treatment plan on a credit card if they have available credit. They may want the rewards. So we're fine with all of that. But you should start talking to them about that. They may have most banks and credit unions today will forewarn you, do not make unsecured loans. They're just getting out of that business. So it's hard to go to a bank and get an unsecured signature loan. That just doesn't exist anymore. But that they may want to work with their bank, for some sort of a financing that comes on later. The other sources of funding, internal financing. I always tell doctors and practices is that, you can finance this yourself if you want to, and you be the bank and the risk taker. There are programs out there that do that, and sometimes that makes sense, but that's a possibility if you can afford it. Most of my doctors and practices they want their money up front, and they're not in the lending business, and they in the collection business. They shouldn't be. They're not good at it. Turn that over to us and the experts that know how to do that. Then you get into external financing for unsecured, which is us and others that do these things. Now, external financing, I'll tell you, we're a large case lender. You may have Care Credit. Stay with Care Credit for the small cases. That's what it's designed to do. And then use us for the large cases. And, we're perfectly comfortable with that. And we're just an add-on to your practice, and really take care of the patients that need the larger case and financing that involves more than $2,500. So you go into that. Other things that we want you to remember when you put together a financial plan for a patient is if they are denied or are struggling, they can look to family members or loved ones for support. We're totally fine with a patient and a borrower being two different people. So, if somebody is denied or doesn't get the credit that they need for getting into an expensive treatment plan, that others can apply on their behalf. We're comfortable with that. And we could set up, a lot of different scenarios where if the borrower is the parent and they want a child to be the responsible party for payment, they can make the payments, and, but the parents have the good credit or the approvable credit and are responsible for the loan, but they don't have to make the payments. We can set that up however they want. So always remember that, the things that they can do. People can sell assets sometimes to, create liquidity to get into payment plans. Other hidden resources, that I always want patients to know and you guys to talk about is everything you do is tax deductible for income tax purposes. In these large cases, what normally happens, they're paid for in 1 year. So it creates a large tax deduction as a medical expense. And if people know that that's tax deductible, and then they can talk to their tax advisor and make sure that they know that, and do some planning with their tax advisor, there's a high likelihood that they'll get a tax benefit. So the government, IRS and the state, that impose income taxes, can fund part of this procedure as well. And you plant the seed of the tax deductibility. That just is another thing that helps them move forward, knowing that, and that there's a benefit there, and you want them to take advantage of that benefit. Also, you can have them talk about taking money out of the retirement plan. I'm not one that really favors taking money out of retirement plans to fund these type of procedures, but that can happen. One of the things that I recommend providers do, and you may not know this, but if you write the patient a letter telling them that this treatment was an emergency or necessary, that they can use that and take money out of the retirement plan and avoid the early payment penalty if you could help them with that. So remember that if they do take money out of the retirement plans, it depends on the type of retirement plan, but it's likely it's taxable income. There are other ways, to avoid taking money out of the retirement plan, where if they're eligible for financing, use that, save the money for the retirement plan, so you don't mess with their retirement benefits. But it's there, but you can help them with that as well. It can be, all of this can be, a combination in a treatment plan. But if you go through these types of things and just really sit down with a patient and explain all of this, and get them comfortable, then you have a high likelihood of success on getting them into your treatment plan and getting the case. Insurance coverage, I just mentioned that, there's dental insurance. Most practices, aren't going to use dental insurance to pay for implants. It just doesn't cover enough, and may not want to take dental insurance just because, dental insurance companies sometimes cap costs on what you could charge. A lot of my practices are fee for service. And then there's major medical. There's some drive out there that some part of the actual procedure, the surgery, can qualify under their medical health insurance and actually produce cash there as well. that's kind of an area that we would need to talk to you about because it has to be done correctly. But anyway, so all of this is just really things I want to tell you that you can keep in mind and get these patients comfortable that, yes, you can afford it, because naturally, in the beginning, they may just, that affordability is always going to be an issue, but, using this, training you and helping you will get you where you're going to get good at this, and your conversion rates will be significantly improved, and you're going to be able to have a lot of success, drive revenue to those practices, and in general, make more money. So, we like the win-win-win, where the patient wins because they get what they need and want. You win because you take care of those patients and provide them with what they need and get the case. These are high margin cases. So you drive revenue, you make more money, and we win because we facilitate making all this happen. So that's what we do. And I will turn it over.
So I love the last two slides, this slide and the previous one, because what you're showing are options. And I wish it was so simple as, patient Googles you, they call you, consult, and then they're approved. But there's multiple ways for you to put together and really work with that person to say, to talk to them about these options. And I think that if you guys did not screenshot this or write this down, you need to have these tools in your toolbox and be prepared for these types of discussions every single time that you're in those treatment rooms. So before we jump over to Kim, I did have one question for you, Dave.
Sure.
For the pre-qual process, did you say it's a soft credit check and
Sure,
or is it a hard pull?
Yeah, didn't really get into that. Our platform is very user friendly. I spent millions of dollars getting this right in terms of development and our technology. So it's an instant decision. So the way it works is you put it in, and we'll train you on all of this. But you put in a simple application. You as a provider can help the patient and fill it out. It can be on your systems. I mean, it's all cloud based once we credential you, or you can have the patient do it. The patient can do it from home if they're more comfortable, but you pull this up. So what happens is it's an instant decision. It will return, an approval. It will give you all the payment options. At that point, it's a soft hit. It does not affect their credit score, so they can make all their decisions on financing. The platform is very user friendly, so you can change the amount. For example, if hey, they applied for 30, they were approved for 30. They want, they come and say, well, I'm not comfortable with that high of a monthly payment. I want a lower monthly payment. What if I just change that to 20? What's that low payment look like? So you can, be flexible and move it around to, really, if their objection is high payment, I want a lower payment. Well, let's see how to get a lower payment. So you have that flexibility, but all of that is the soft hit. When the patient actually accepts and says, yes, I want that option, I like it, let's move forward, let's go ahead and take out that loan, that's when you hit select, and that's when the hard hit occurs. And simply when that happens, loan documents are produced, they're signed, returned to us, and we accept the loan docs. You certify that the patient has accepted the treatment plan, and we set it for funding and disbursement, and you'll have your money in 24 to 48 hours. So it's that simple.
Oh, wow. Well, I didn't know it was that fast, 24 hours. Everybody
Yeah, we fund same day or next day. We use ACH. So, obviously when we onboard you, we get your banking information and, all of the things that we need to make you a client. But when we approve the loan, it's set for disbursement. We have I think it's a 4 Central Time cutoff. So all apps that are approved, before 4 Central are set for disbursement that day through the ACH system, which means you get your money the next day. If it's after 4, then it's a day later.
All right. Well, this was awesome. Thank you, Dave. And I think it's a perfect time to kind of move into the discussion of what we're talking about, the money talk. And we've all had those moments, especially if you've been in a treatment room or a consult room, where sometimes, the patient is nervous, they've seen the number, or maybe they're waiting on the number. They have their own anxieties, their own fears, they're thinking about their why am I here? I can't believe I'm doing this. This I'm gonna have a Cadillac in my mouth, basically. And then you kind of have to get to the point where you ask. So are you ready to move forward? How do you ask? How do you have these tough conversations? And then what happens if they don't get approved? So Kim, I know you've got lots to say on this topic, and I do have a couple questions for you afterwards when you're done, but I would just kind of love for you to kind of walk us through your best practices.
Sure. Thank you so much. So again, I want to thank everyone. Some of our friends I see are back. I know Dr. Rubino's office. I saw Miss Brittany is here as well. So thank you guys for coming back and seeing us. And for anyone that's new, hey, welcome to the gang. I'm glad you're here. So I was, Lauren talked to me. She said, Kim, we're going to have a conversation next time on that financial conversation and how to overcome concerns or objections, some people call them. And she said, you're going to have about 10 to 15 minutes to talk. And, I was really thinking to myself, first of all, how am I going to explain all this in 10 to 15 minutes? Because it's really important to me, right? Lauren's laughing at me. It's really important to me that I give you something, some type of knowledge that you can use right away. That's always important to me. So I've been thinking about it. I was writing notes, rewriting notes. I actually talked to my friend about this and she's like, man, that doesn't even sound like you. So I was really freaking out. And then my grandma called me late last night. She talks to me every night at 8 p.m. and she's 94 years old. So you never know what a 94-year-old is going to say. So you might want to close your ears for what I'm going to say. But she was talking to me. She said, Kim, what are you doing? I said, Grandma, I'm freaking out. I have this webinar tomorrow and I want to make sure that I say something really powerful that people can take back with them and really learn. And she goes, oh, well, what's it about? And I said, well, it's overcoming a financial discussion. And she goes, huh? She goes, well, that seems all right. Have you meditated about it? And I said, well, Grandma, I've been meditating every day for a week about this. And I can't get nothing in my head. I have this little roadblock. And she goes, well, it doesn't seem that hard. How much is it? And I said, it's $50,000. I go, what would you tell them, Grandma? And she said, well, I would tell them that if they say it's too much, it's not too much. It's in the value. You got to create the value. And I said, oh my gosh, that's a wonderful answer. And I said, by the way, we create the value when we uncover the vision during the consultation, right? We always do that. But I said, Grandma, what if they still say, I understand the value, but it's way too much money? And remember, she's 94. You never know what they're going to say. She said to me, Kim, I would tell them, stop thinking about the money and just spend it because the money is the root of all evil. That's what she said to me. But she goes, I'm going to tell you a true story though, Kim. It's really not money, the root of all evil. It is sex. And I started laughing really, really loud. And I said, Grandma, I think you just helped me. And then she said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hang up the phone. I'm going to pray. I'm going to talk to your grandma and grandpa my grandpa and dad who are in heaven and hope that they can help you. And when she hung up, I realized two things. She always helps me. One is I'm complicating this way too much. And salespeople do that in the room too, for many different reasons, right? When you get an objection or concern, one, we can shut down. We have that fight or flight. Some of us just shut down and we're like, you know what? Go ahead and go home and talk to your wife. No problem. I understand. The other one is we fight it. We want to fix it. We want to give them that quick answer before we really understood what their concern is. Someone says it's $50,000. We say, well, we'll just finance it. Or, you know what? How much did you think it was going to be? Or haven't you done any research? Which makes our patient shut down. So that's one thing I realized. The second thing is when she said, you know what, I'm going to pray about it. I said, that's so interesting that she said that. If we think about, and I know many of you who are on this call with me have heard me say this, if you think about the whole consultation as a servient type of conversation is a, how can I help? If we always think about it that way of how can we help, we're going to be able to understand what their true concern is. So thinking of that, you need 5 tools to resolve an objection, not overcome it. A lot of salespeople say, I can overcome an objection. I don't want you to overcome it. Overcoming it means I'm just going to try to fix it. I'm going to try to give them an answer that maybe I heard someone else and it sounded really good when Kim said it, so I'll use it. That's a fixer. When they go home, guess what happens? They talk to someone at dinner and they cancel the next day. That's why they get buyer's remorse. I'm going to ask you to resolve the objection, which means you can't give an answer very quickly because in order to resolve an objection, you have to understand what it is. So I'm going to give you 5 tools in order to do that. I never like to assume that anybody knows the definitions of any of the tools that I want to give. So I'm going to give you the definition of that as well. Empathy can be as simple as, I understand. It's a big investment, right? I'm so sorry that you feel embarrassed. Open-ended questions. Any questions that get somebody talking a lot. right? If I just say, Lauren, how's your day? She could say, good. If I say, Lauren, tell me a little bit about some of the things you've done today. She has to give me a big answer, right? I'm going to ask you to listen. Just like I just did. You're going to pause. You're going to listen. You guys probably thought something happened to me. Nothing happened. I was just listening. I'm going to ask you to confirm and understand, verify that you understand what their concern is. Sometimes you have to do that because in some instances, there's going to be more than one thing that it could be. So it's really important that you understand it. And then the next thing is social proof. Social proof is as simple as saying many people have felt the same way you do. It lowers anxiety, right? And it builds trust, and they know that they're not being judged. 5 tools, that's all you need to say, how can I help you? Okay. I like to tell stories because I think stories are actual things that happen, so they make sense. Instead of me role playing back with Lauren or Dave, I could always put him on the spot, but I won't. So in this next story, I'm going to keep everyone's real name out of it. I'm going to protect the innocent. Even if I told you their name, they're in protective eyewitness program, so it wouldn't matter. Here's the story. I'm going to use Lauren as my boss. I'm going to use Dave. I'll put him on the spot. Why not? Dave's going to be her boss. Okay. Hopefully I'll keep these fake names right and not bring the real ones. So when I was working at Clear Choice, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, I don't know, I'm not good at time. But when I was working there, one of the things that they started was a 40% club. Okay, that 40% club was to be about elite people getting better. And they wanted to take everyone at 20%, that was the lowest average you could have, and move you up, right? Some of us were already above that, but still, we were always getting better, always training. And I remember that Lauren, my boss, came to me and she said, Kim, will you be in this 40% club? And I said, I don't know what it is. And she told me, hey, you just got to be in it. We want you to be in it because, you know, you're a leader and everyone's going to follow you. If you get in it, they'll get in it. So will you please get in? I said, sure. Now, over the next couple of weeks, I started seeing all these emails bombarding me. And they were like, Kim, you need to do this and you need to do that. And we need you on once a week for 6 weeks. And you got to talk and all this stuff, fine. And then all of a sudden, I got one email that said, you got to read all these books. Okay. I don't read. I never have. I don't like it. I actually would have my grandma read my books in high school for book reports. And I said, Grandma, just read this. It's a wonderful book. And I want you to explain it to me afterwards. And that's how I did my reports. So again, that was my problem with it. So when I went to our conference, I told my boss, who was Lauren, I told her, I said, you know what, Lauren, I don't want to be in this 40% club. She goes, well, you have to be. And I said, no, I don't have to be. It's not mandatory. And she goes, but you're a leader. I said, I'm not a leader. I never asked to be a leader. You said I'm a leader. She goes, but you only have to be in this 1 hour a week, Kim, for 6 weeks. That's all I'm asking from you. And I said, well, I don't want to be in it. So Lauren left and she was really mad. So Lauren went to her boss, who was in charge of this program, which taught us how to be better communicators, because that's really what it is, right? So now her boss comes in, by the way, that's Dave. So Dave comes in. And Dave says to Lauren, he goes, well, Lauren, can you tell me why Kim doesn't want to be in the program anymore? I'm curious. And Lauren said, no, I can't. And he goes, well, if you don't understand why she doesn't want to be in the program anymore, how can you help her? So Dave comes up to me and Dave said, Kim, I'm so sorry. I heard that you don't want to be in the program anymore. You know, I can understand maybe something has changed. Empathetic listening, right? I understand it's okay to feel the way you feel, Kim. That's what he did to me. And then Dave said, I'm curious, what made you change your mind on this? I said, Dave, I got to tell you what it is. I hate reading books. I don't read books. I'm not going to read a book. And I got an email with a list of books that I have to read, and it's never going to happen. And I don't care if it's 1 hour for 3 weeks, I'm not reading them. And he said, oh my gosh, Kim, is that the only thing that's holding you back is you feel like you have to read books? And I said, yes, there's 2 things he did there. An open-ended question. Tell me a little bit about why you changed your mind, Kim. So I had to give him an answer, not just, I don't want to do it. I had to give him a real answer. And then 2, he confirmed understanding, because there could have been other reasons that he had to overcome, right? Or resolve, I should say. So he confirmed the only thing that was stopping me from being a part of this program was reading the books. And I said, yes, that's all it is, Dave. And then he said to me, I have great news for you, Kim. I know that you don't read, because if you would have read the rest of the email, it would have told you this is just a way for you to earn points to get rewards if you want to go on a trip or you want money. You don't have to read the book. You don't have to read any of them. You can do all these other things. How do you feel about that? I said, oh my gosh, I feel so much better. The anxiety is off of me. And he said, great. Welcome to the 40% club. And I said, oh my gosh, thank you. And then Lauren came up to me. She goes, gosh, darn it. Dave just came back to me and said, what is wrong with you? This is what we're teaching. And you didn't even do it. And Kim's in now. But he did those 5 tools, right? Actually, he didn't use social proof. He just used 4 of those. You don't always have to use them. Empathy. It's okay to feel the way you feel, Kim, right? So when someone says $50,000 is a lot of money, it is. It's okay for them to feel that way. An open-ended question. He got me talking, right? What was the reason I didn't want to do it? He asked me, what's going on? I didn't want to read books. He confirmed understanding and verified it was the only concern that I have. Is there anything else stopping you, Kim? No. So he did some listening in there, and then he wrapped it up. He came back with a how-to. How do I resolve that? Right? You turn it all around in a way that can resolve that concern, because we want to resolve the concern once and for all. So when they go home, it's done, it's resolved. We didn't overcome anything, we resolved it once and for all. And that's really important when they're in the room. Okay, so that's one story. When we get into that financial conversation, I think some people always think, gosh, they always say no because of the money. There's many reasons they say no. It can be, you know what, I'm terrified of the treatment plan. It's way too much money. I don't have time. I feel like I'm too old for this. If I would have been in my 60s, but I'm in my 80s, so maybe I'm too old. I got to leave money to my kids. There's many different reasons. I got to talk to my spouse. I just keep thinking of them and thinking of them. There's so many different reasons that people come up with things. So I want to share a couple things with you. Sometimes these objections they give to you is not a no. It's a disguised concern, right? That we had to uncover, something that we didn't handle during the consultation. Maybe they need more information about something, but they don't want to tell us right away. So we need to get them talking. The main goal is always to say, how can I help? We're going to ask some questions so that we better understand to try to help resolve their concern. I'm going to give you another story. I was working out in an office in Florida. I'm going to give you the real names because it's just easier now and we'll never know who the person is. Anyways, I was working in a real office in Florida, and one of the things I love to do, because I think live is great, so I followed through the consultation, right? I just followed the girl through her consultation, made her really nervous, which is horrible for me, but horrible for her and fun for me. As she was giving the consult at the very end, we built all this value, we did all this wonderful stuff. I thought for sure this was a slam dunk. The woman was in there with her husband. They were gung-ho. She was like, I am doing it, I am doing it, I am doing it. And then we got to the money part, and I could visually see, as Lisa told her, it's $60,000, the woman started to shaking. I mean, visually see her shaking and shutting down. And, you know, Lisa, she started off really well. And she asked her some questions, and then she said to her, you know, I can see you're kind of thinking, tell me what's going on. And she said, I'm just terrified. I'm terrified of the treatment. I'm terrified of the surgery. Lisa right away, because she wanted to overcome the objection. If you think about that, she wanted to fix it. The problem with fixing is if we want to fix it real quick, we don't understand what the concern is because we want to overcome it, right? It's fight or flight. We want the sale. We're kind of thinking of us. Lisa right away said, you don't have to worry about the surgery. You're going to be sedated. You're going to be totally asleep. That's what she said. And I saw the woman start to shake even more. It was really sad. And she actually got tears in her eyes. And her husband then put his hand on her leg. And I realized at that moment, Lisa was barking up the wrong tree. Lisa didn't ask to find out, what is she afraid of, right? We had to ask that open-ended question. We have to double click. Double clicking means we're going to go a little bit further. We ask one question, we ask another one to really understand, right? So I stopped and I said, hold on, Lisa, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry for interrupting. I said, ma'am, you know, I can tell that you're visually shaken. And it's really important to me that I understand what's holding you back. What part of the treatment scares you? Tell me a little bit more about that and tell me why. I want to make sure that we're able to help you. And she said, Kim, I am so scared because I don't ever want to be put to sleep. I don't want to have no control of my body. I worry about dying. I worry about what might happen. I worry about all these things. It terrifies me, but at the same time, I need something in order to relax. And I said, you know, if I hear you correctly, the only thing that's stopping you is that you're really scared that maybe when you're under sedation that you might pass away and then you don't get to see your beautiful husband another day. Am I right? And she said, yeah. But you also want to feel relaxed because you have some tension at the dentist office. She said, yeah, you're right. And I said, is there anything that I missed? Is there any bad experience, anything else that scares you about the treatment? And she said, no. And I said, okay, so what I'm going to do is go back to Lisa. I want her to explain some of the other things that we have to do. And I want you to rest assured that you don't have to be put asleep. You're going to see your beautiful husband every single day. And I tell you, she stopped shaking and she looked at her husband and she said, I never had anyone ask me what I was afraid of before. And she started to cry. She goes, I feel good about this. So it wasn't a no. We just had to understand what her concern was. And after that, she signed up and moved forward. So it's really important that we understand the concern. We had empathetic listening, right? It's okay to feel the way she felt. I had open-ended questions because I wanted to get deeper into this. I wanted her to talk. I verified and confirmed what her concern was. I had listening in there. And then I did a how to resolve. Let me have Lisa talk to you about the other things that we can do. Couple tools, that's all we need, right? I was overcomplicating things. Here's another one. I have to talk to my wife, right? It's always women. Women are always the problem. I totally get it. Couple things to remember here. Sometimes that concern is a hidden concern or hidden problem that we didn't overcome or talk about, I should say, in the consultation, right? We didn't resolve it in the consultation. So if they say, I want to talk to my wife or even husband, to be fair, if I want to talk to my wife though, that could mean I'm afraid to ask you another question, or I've shut down. Now they could really have to talk to their wife, so it works in both ways. However, most of the time when someone says that to me, once I get that person talking, they end up moving forward because it allows me to help them resolve a concern that was hidden. Okay. So if someone says to me, Kim, I really want to go home and talk to my wife, I totally understand. You know, it's important when you're making a financial decision that you involve your partner. Empathetic listening, right? That's what I do. Then we're going to have that open-ended question, maybe social proof in this one. You know, I was just kind of thinking to myself, when my boyfriend comes home, he was just purchasing a car a couple of weeks ago. And when he comes home, he, you know, says, hey, I want to purchase this car, blah, blah, blah. And I said, oh, did you ask him this? He goes, well, no. I said, well, you know, I kind of want to know about this. What about that? And he said, well, I didn't ask him any of this stuff. You know how men are, right? They don't ask many questions. Is there anything, because I want to make sure when you go home and talk to your wife, I want to make sure that you have all the questions, that you have all the answers ready for the questions she might ask. Is there anything I didn't answer today that you think she might ask you? Talk to me a little bit about that. Remember, sometimes it is a concern that he or she has. So now I have that person talking. I use the open-ended questions. They got to start talking, which allows me to listen and try to resolve and come back with a, how can I help? Right? So that's the main thing. We got to get them talking. Let's find out what their concerns are and go from there. The other one, money. Money is so important, right? That it comes down to money many times. Someone's super pumped up about doing this. They want their smile. They want to go home and take their kids to the soccer game, not feel judged. Maybe they want to date again. Maybe they want to go for a promotion, all these different things. And then all of a sudden, as we build all this value, I say, hey, guess what, Lauren? It's $50,000, right? I give Lauren a heart attack. I always give her a heart attack. So there's different things that we can do here, right? If a person says it's $50,000, if I want that fight or flight, or if I just want to fix, right, or overcome an objection, this is how some people respond. Oh, she says, well, that's a lot of money. And I say, well, how much did you think it was going to be? Right? People think that asking that question, the person's going to say, well, maybe I thought it was going to be 20. What the person really thinks is, are you judging me? Why are you talking down to me? What do you mean? How much did I think it was going to be? How should I know? I never saw dental implants. I'm not a dentist. I don't know what it's going to be, right? So that person shuts down. So instead of doing that, what I'm going to ask you to do is remember, we're going to be a servient consultation. How can I help? We want to listen so we can resolve. So it may sound something like this. Now I tell Lauren that it's $50,000 and she goes, whew, that's a lot of money, right? I'm going to use empathetic listening, social proof. Some of that empathetic listening will sound like this. I totally understand. The financial part of anything is important to all of us, whether it's $1 or $60,000. That's important to all of us in our income and what we make. You know what, Lauren, I've been able to help so many people move forward who had the same concern that you had. Do you mind if I ask you some questions to better understand what that means to you as far as a lot of money and so forth, so I can help you? And then when Lauren says yes, now I'm going to ask her. And I can also say, here's another way. I've been able to help so many people move forward. I've actually learned ways from the patients on ways that can help you move forward. Do you mind if I ask you some questions and go over some of those options with you? She doesn't mind. Great. Now I want to understand what it means to her. Now I'm going to say, Lauren, you mentioned to me that 50,000 is a lot. Talk to me a little bit about that. You know, what is your concern as far as that? Meaning, did you think you had to come up with all of it now? You know, some people have saved a little bit, but it wasn't enough. Talk to me about that so I can better understand to go over some of these options that I really feel will help you be able to move forward and make it comfortable for you. Now, that opens up that conversation for financing with proceed, right? 401ks, home equities, like he talked about, IRA, tax deductible, many different things that they can do. HSA. I know that Dave was so nice to go over all those things, which I want to say, not a lot of financing places say, let me tell you all the ways that you can find money. So that is wonderful. Number two, I love that with proceed, they go over 9 years. A lot of places don't do that. And the number one thing that we want to do or hear a lot of times is I have some money, but I don't have all of it, or I need to have a smaller monthly investment, right? The more years you have, the smaller monthly investment is. Okay. So I think that that's really important that Dave is actually giving people the opportunity to change the rest of their life. And he's telling you, hey, we can approve up to 70,000, but for some reason, if your client only gets 40,000, here are a multitude of ways to find that extra $10,000. So this is a financial company that's working with you to find all those avenues. But the key is, when I talk about the $50,000, empathetic listening, it's okay. I totally understand. Finance is important for all of us, right? Open-ended questions. Tell me a little bit more about that. When you're talking about $50,000, I know it's a concern. Talk to me about that so that I can help you, right? We're having a natural conversation. That is all we're doing. And then we're moving into the how can I help? Let me go over the different options with you. And that is how we lead into all these other things. So that is really important, is to have the empathetic listening, open-ended questions, listening, verifying and confirming understanding, and then how do I help, right? Remember, negative responses aren't no. We only look at them that way. They are concerns that have to be resolved, which means we have to listen to understand what the concern is to be able to resolve it. And if we have it resolved, when they go home and they talk to their partner or they talk to their friends, they feel confident about their decision, they don't cancel. So we want to resolve it, not overcome it. How do we do that? We're going to ask questions, we're going to listen, we're going to verify, we're going to have empathetic listening, and we're going to move them forward. And I'm going to go back to you, Lauren.
That was awesome. So Kim, tell me, we actually have some questions. So just to pick up right where you left off right there, can you please kind of share when someone does the whole, I need to go talk to my spouse, oh my God, I'm going to think about it. And you really, it's been a good consult. You feel good about it, but they leave. What's the follow-up, or what do you think should happen after that?
Great question. So here's the thing, even though we do this, right? The goal is if we do it every single time, more people are going to move forward than not. However, you really do have people that have to go home and talk to their spouse, and that's okay. What we need to do is set up a follow-up. Okay, that's what Lauren's talking about, is what does that follow-up look like? Okay, still lead is still moving forward. How do we follow up? I would say something like this. I would say, Lauren, when you go home and talk to your husband, I know you said you're probably going to do that on Thursday. I want to make sure that your husband has all of his questions answered. How about I call you on Friday just to check in and make sure that everything was answered? And you might have some other questions too, because lots of times I know husbands can ask a lot of questions, right? I want to make sure that that is taken care of for you. How about we set up a time for Monday? Do you like morning or Friday? Do you like morning or afternoon for us to get in touch? So we're going to set that up. Reason we want to do that is if I just call a week later, I'm no better than a call center calling them and bothering them. But if I have a scheduled appointment with them, They know, number one, they got to have that conversation with their husband. I'm holding them accountable on a timeline. And number two, they know when I call and they answer what they're talking about, that I'm setting clear expectations. There's no anxiety to them. They know I'm calling just to help. So they're more likely to answer that phone and start that conversation again. And that's what we always want, an opportunity to resolve the concern.
I love it. Oh, Dave,
I
were you
think
going to say
Dave, you're
something?
yeah.
You're muted.
Yeah, I was going to chime in on that one. This has been studied, and there's, I don't have time to get into all the details, but what's been determined, of personality types and the types of people you're dealing with, and you have to kind of judge, what you're dealing with in terms of where they fall into that. But, I'm going to give you a statistic that when you're talking about, a financial expenditure of $30,000, give or take. I mean, it could be 50, as Kim said, or 20, but it's a major purchase for a consumer, is that 60% of the people will not make that decision without having someone that they trust support that decision or make that for them. Okay. So that's just, you're going to be dealing with that when you deal with these large expenditures. So as Kim said, when talking to the spouse is okay, or whoever they want to go for support to help them make this decision, because it's a major decision for them, is expect that, but then is the follow up. And a lot of times it's as simple as, hey, let me, let's schedule an appointment to bring your spouse in, or whoever that influencer is in their life, and let's go through this. And then the influencer, says, you need to do this. It's okay. You can afford this. You got a low payment. And, one of the other psychology things is, I hear this from treatment coordinators a lot is, hey, Dave, make it look like a car payment, because if it's a car payment, people will feel comfortable. They can figure that out and put that in their budget in their life. Don't make it look like a house payment, because I'll never get them to agree to another one of those. So that's what we do. But there's some psychology, but, just expect that, and, you can deal with it. And, they will, you sometimes need to get that influencer in their life, whether that be a spouse, partner, whatever, to tell them it's okay. And then they'll go forward.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Dave. Absolutely. And we have another question. It's so funny because you just mentioned the car payment scenario. Shane just asked, and a couple of other people asked about, do you present the financial arrangements on the same day as the case? And we have a mixed bag kind of nationally. Some people feel more comfortable doing it. Kim has her own perspective. I have a very, very short story about myself related to a car, because my husband is in the market for a car right now and I'm not. So I mean, think about it. The average patient hasn't been to the dentist in 10 years, the one that needs a full arch, right? I haven't been to a car dealership in 10 years. I haven't needed a car. I'll drive it till the wheels fall off, right? So we're at the dealership. My husband has dragged me there. Okay. I have all the anxiety because I don't want a car payment. And we're at Tesla, of all places. And so he's picking out his options and butterfly doors and all this fancy stuff. And we're in this room to do the financial part. And I don't want to look at anyone. This whole process just makes me nauseous. And so the little guy comes out, and I'm just like, before he even starts talking, I'm like, how much does it cost? Like, and for those, you know me, I'm just to the point right there. How much does it cost? And he was like, well, our financial person isn't here today. So here's a bottle of wine, which I love, but that's not going to sell the car. He said, if you guys could just come back tomorrow. And I was like, can you at least tell me what we're working with? And he was like, all that's done with the financial person, right? So that was like 3 or 4 months ago. And guess what? We're still driving our cars that we had from 10 years ago. And we're doing just fine. So that was my own little personal story, because I know if that financial guy had been there, we would have done our financing and we would have been driving around in a Tesla when the doors go up. So I will kick it over to you, Kim, because I know you do have perspective on that.
Yeah, so one of the reasons that I think it's so important to have that financial conversation the same day is exactly why Lauren would have said yes. They built emotional value higher than the financial value that day, right? They're in the mood. They've learned all this wonderful things about Tesla. I could never drive that car because I think you have to do a lot of things on a computer, which we all know I hate. I don't know. It's very technical. But for Lauren, she's super smart. So she could have bought right then because she had emotional value higher than financial value. If we think about it in the dental world, that whole consultation of how can I help? Let me understand how this is affecting your everyday life, right? How's it affecting you socially, at work, personally? What is going on in a negative way, right? I want to date. I feel embarrassed. I don't go out with my friends anymore. It's hurting my marriage. I'm not going for a promotion. We resolve all those. We build urgency. We paint this wonderful picture. They're motivated to do something. And then we said, go home. Call us in a couple of days, maybe a week. We'll figure out what we need to do, and then you can come back. We've lost all that energy that we built. So I'm going to say, when you take the time out and you build all that energy, you build all that value, everybody's involved, and you're all saying, how can I help? It's okay to have that financial conversation. It is best to have it right then. Okay.
I would agree with that. Don't, be prepared to have all that in the consultation, when you get that excitement, that emotional value created, and then it's just about money, have that conversation now so they know. And a lot of times, you'll be surprised if you get them comfortable with the money piece, they're going to close.
Right. Yep. Absolutely. And it's okay for them to say it's a lot of money. Remember, that's okay. Let's just understand what the concern is and help them. Okay. Yep. We got lots of ways to help. Dave went over so many of them, which is so wonderful of him, because there's many ways that we can work together, mix and match. Or I always say the easiest way is if we can make it comfortable for them monthly, they most of the time move forward with financing. 9 years, that makes it really affordable and comfortable, by the way. I love that. I wish I had that when I was a Clear Choice. I didn't. But there's lots of other ways that people can move forward, right? So for that person who has terrible credit and can't even get approved, Dave was gracious enough to give you many ways that they can look at other ways to move forward, even bringing somebody else in to apply for the loan for them, right? He said, we don't mind someone else applying for the loan, and we can, still have the other person pay it, right? There's many different things that you can do, but that's just one to name it. So just kind of think about that. We're always thinking, how can I help? And if we think that way, that's how we help people move forward and change their life.
So I want to adhere to the time. So I know if people jump off, we will send you the replay, I promise. But this is really good discussion. Dr. Scuria, I will get your question, and Shane, I will too. This is a good one, guys, because you both have probably seen a broad range of applicant types, and for you, Kim, just patient types. And one thing that gets us all in trouble is when we prejudge people, how they sound on the phone, or if they say, I need to catch the bus to come in, or do you accept Medicaid? Just for fun, can you give us a couple of unassuming people that you move forward with a large case, like a $50,000 case?
Yeah, absolutely. And people will probably think I'm lying to them, but they're true stories. And we can quickly judge people, right? I had a lady come in. I know, again, some of our friends that are on here probably heard me talk about this story, but it hit me, and it really reminded me never to judge anyone, because you just never know, right? I had a lady come in, and if I was to judge, I might have looked at the way she dressed and said, wow, maybe she doesn't have a lot of money, because she was kind of disheveled, And she started to talk to me. She said, I don't talk to any of my family. And she lives in a trailer park. She told me, again, if I wanted to judge and looking at income, I might say, maybe she doesn't make as much money, right? But I wanted to treat her with so much respect, because my goal always is to make someone feel better than when they walked in my door, whether they move forward or not. That is number one. How can we help? How do we make someone feel better? For two different reasons. One, they're human and they deserve that. And I would want my grandmother treated that way. I'm going to treat them that way. And two, if for some reason they find a way later on to come up with that money, they will come back because you treated them with respect. So keep that in mind. So I didn't judge her on that either. She told me she lived in a trailer park, and she kept talking about her cat. Her cat was her only friend. And I remember when at the end, I said, it's $50,000. And she goes, well, I need 1 second. And I said, oh, okay. And I just kind of sat there. She goes, I'm going to call my cat. I need to talk to my cat and see what he says. All right. So she called her cat in her mind on the phone, and she had a conversation in front of me with her cat, and she hung up, and she got a check. And she wrote out a $50,000 check to me. And I said, what'd your cat say? And she goes, well, my cat thought this was a great investment, so I'm going to do it. And I said, I got to meet this cat, right? That is somebody I could have judged. You just never know. There's stories of people coming in who you think, do they have any credit? They're super young, whatever, maybe in their early 20s. They're never going to be able to afford this or that. Maybe they come in with broken down teeth and we look at them like maybe they're a meth patient or maybe they're in an abusive relationship and we start judging them. Doesn't mean they don't have great credit. We have to look at the fact that if someone was a meth person, oh my gosh, look at the amount of strength it must have took them to get off the meth and come in here. They deserve the treatment. They deserve to be treated human because that's a strong person. And I'm going to be a part of that journey with that person. I've seen people come in that way and I'm able to get them approved for financing. But if I judged them on the way they looked and I didn't treat them right in the consultation, I didn't understand their concerns, I didn't understand their vision, they wouldn't have moved forward. So it's really important, and I'm going to stress this. Consultations or sales, if we want to say sales, is a mental game. It is very easy for a salesperson to become a very judgmental person. And I've been doing this since I was 18. I'm not going to age myself, but it's many years. Lauren, keep it back. Don't say it. I can see her. I know. She's always like, you're so old, Kim. So anyways, it's very easy to start judging people. I know at Clear Choice, the last day of the month, because they paid us on our close rate, depending on what our close rate was, we got paid a certain percentage on collections. And then in the month, nobody wanted to take anyone. If we saw someone come in and they weren't dressed right, or we thought they didn't have money, oh my God, we didn't want to take them because if they didn't close, we could lose money. So we became very judgmental people. I'm going to tell you, you have to put yourself in the right frame of mind to give 100% to every person you meet all month long. Hard to do. All month long, you have to do that. I will say this, if you do that to every single patient, 90% of the time, I truly believe that, 90% of the time, you will hit your goal. There has been times when I was at Clear Choice, I'd miss 15 people in the row. At the end of the month, I would hit. And my director would always say, I don't know how you do it. I just don't know how you do it. And I said, it's a numbers game. If I give 100% every single time, I'm going to help people move forward. So that's one thing. How do I do that? I stay very humble and I put myself in the right frame of mind. It's very easy to do. Right? When I used to drive to work, if I saw an ambulance, I knew in my mind that someone else's life, their day was much worse than mine. My goal is to help people. I remember when my father died, I remember getting there the same time as the ambulance got there. He had a heart attack and I never forgot that. And I said, no matter what, when I go into work today, I'm going to give 100% to every person I meet because I meet a person for a reason, whether it's to help them or for them to help me. I give 100% because that other person's life is harder than mine today. Put yourself in that frame of mind. Don't judge, push. And think, if they don't move forward today, they will come back when they have the money. You got to think that way. Think of it as a pipeline. Everything you do is to help someone change their life, and everything you do builds your business, even if it's a year from now. You got to think that way.
Yeah, go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, no, I'll reiterate that. Don't judge people. I've been in this business a very long time, and you'll never know what somebody's credit history, their credit scores are. From just an appearance or some judgment that you have or prejudice or whatever, don't go there because you'll be surprised. And the other thing is that when, as Kim reiterated, we're here to help people. So if somebody has poor credit or challenging credit and they don't get approved or they don't get approved for what the amount of credit that they need, it's okay. There's options, but credit scores are volatile. If people, want to improve their life, it doesn't take a lot of effort, and we'll help patients to improve their credit score. And here's the 3 things you need to do, and you will qualify. So it might be 90 days, it might be 6 months, it might be even as little as 30 days. If they do a few things, they can get their credit scores and histories improved where they're approvable. And tell them that, and we'll help you. Take them through that process and don't give up.
Oh, I love this discussion, especially about the prejudging. I swear that that gets me every time because you really, really never know. And giving 100% of yourself every single time, that will completely shift the direction of your practice to give 100%. So thank you for that pearl of wisdom. So I've got one more question for you. And this relates to practices where you have specialists, where you have someone who does the surgery and then someone who does the restorative part. So that's a potential for 2 appointments and 2 financial plans. You know, because some offices, it'll be like where the oral surgeon collects all the money and then we'll pay the general dentist. I have some where the general dentist or whomever will see you first, give you a treatment plan, and then you need to go elsewhere, get a treatment plan from them, get approved. I mean, it can get kind of complicated, or it can be very simple. What are your suggestions for that type of practice that has 2 separate appointments because there are 2 separate doctors?
Okay, so I want to make sure. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Oh, no, I can address the financial piece of that, Kim, if you want to address the, you know, go ahead and I'll
No, I'll follow you.
Okay. Hey, we get this question a lot. Because, you know, implants can involve multiple professionals, and, you know, sometimes you have the oral surgeon that does the surgery, then you have the restorative dentist that's going to do all of the fittings and the lab work and everything else, and they try to work together. You know, here's what I will tell you, you know, the patient, you know, going through this process wants one payment, one loan. They don't want, you know, multiple loans. That, you know, that's one solution, is they get 2 loans and pay each provider accordingly. But, you know, that's not convenient, or that's not what the patient wants. So what we recommend is that the patient, so somebody quarterbacks, you know, the process. If they're going through implantology, you know, it could, if they're not the clear choice model where, you know, it's all done under one roof, and they're going to see a restorative dentist, they're going to have an oral surgeon, you know, and their general dentist and labs and all of that. You know, they want some help and convenience. So, you know, we always recommend, okay, who's the quarterback here? And the quarterback really lays this all out, and then, you know, applies for financing for the total cost, including all of the different professionals or practices involved, and then get them approved for that amount. Okay, once they're approved, okay, how do you split the pie? Well, there's several ways that we can do that to help you. You know, we can pay one person provider who then will pay all of the different professionals that are involved. Sometimes you'll get, well, hey, is that legal? Of course it is. I'll show you how to do that, and that route. If the patient, you know, if that's not possible, the patient has to get 2 loans. The patient can call us after that and consolidate those loans to get one payment. But, you know, depending on the facts, we'll work through that. But it's very possible, and you know, that's what we're here to help you get through those, you know, when that happens.
Yeah,
Thanks, Dave.
Yeah, so for me, I think I'm going to dive a little bit deeper, make sure I'm understanding. Are you asking me, Lauren, what I feel is the best way to do it? Get one price at one place total, or to have 2 separate appointments?
Yeah, like some offices that's just their setup. So there's really no way around it.
Right.
So if that's their setup, there's no way to avoid 2 appointments. How do you increase your case acceptance? Because it's basically 2 treatment plans.
Yeah. So I guess I have a couple different answers there. And one is I'd have to talk to the office to really better understand what their setup is, because it's kind of a broad question. 2, if you can get it set up with that other doctor, right? If you're the oral surgeon and then you have a general dentist working with you, or a prosthodontist, whatever it may be, if you could set something up and say, here is your side of it. This is what we know you're going to charge. If it's a normal average case, if it's advanced, this is what you're going to charge. So you know what they're going to charge. So when you have that conversation and you built that urgency, painted that picture, you can actually give the whole cost. Just handle it for both of you guys. Just give that cost. Go ahead and resolve the concern and move that person forward. That personally is how I love to do it. The other way, which Lauren is talking about, is how do I create the urgency or build value maybe and get them to that second appointment? One, we had to make sure that they really have no concerns. Again, same thing. We got to really resolve that concern, talk to them about everything, build value in that next appointment. We have to build value back to their vision. So we got a couple things that we got to do there. That's why I said it's really a one-on-one conversation, because I can train you how to do that. Once you build value back to that vision, that's going to get them to show at that other appointment. Another thing is too, if you kind of know the cost, you can give a so-so estimate too, just to let them know. Because again, really important in my opinion is that we always try to resolve that concern when they're there. When we've built that relationship, they trust you. People don't know how good a doctor is. What they know is this person really listened to me. This doctor was able to understand me, confirm understanding back to me, which makes me trust him or her and have less anxiety. So I feel like I can really tell this doctor everything. So again, they buy into you. You have the opportunity to help them move forward. So anything you can do right then, I think is really powerful and will really help the close rate and help you change more lives. Will help all that go up. I hope that answered the question. But again, I'd have to really find out more about
It
their
did,
office.
and I do understand that some offices cannot avoid that type of setup, but and there are ways to kind of like consolidate that and work around that. So thank you for that feedback, guys. This has been great. I'm going to let you guys get to the rest of your day, and I am going to send you guys a link. And this link is going to link you to Proceed. If you're not set up with Proceed, that's just our recommendation for financing. At Microsite, we've developed what we call this ecosystem of success. And it's multiple parts, from lead generation to lead management to the sales coaching. And then beyond that, of course, is how to move the patient forward. And when we get all of those pieces of the puzzle together, it makes for a really, really happy, successful office. It makes for happy, successful patients. Of course, Microsite is happy as well. But our goal is for 100% of our clients to get, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6x times what they spend each month, and change as many lives as possible through their dentistry. And that's what makes us happy, is what gets us up in the morning, jazzes our day. Me and Kim, if we were in the same city, we'd probably do a chest bump to get our day going. Because
last night we were texting a doctor at 11 o'clock at night. It was 8 o'clock her time. She's out in California, but that's what it's about, because she was so happy that she was doing well, and we were all in a group text. So that was exciting.
Yeah, we want to share in your victories, and then when we have challenges, we work with you to get through those challenges. So we appreciate your time. Look out for an email from me with more information about who we are and how to get set up with Proceed if you're not set up with them already. And we will see you on the next webinar. We may give you a summer break, and we'll probably catch you, I'd say, in about 3 or 4 weeks. All right, you guys all take care. See you soon.
All right, thanks for everything.
Thank you.
Yes, take care. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.